So what's up, everybody? It's Cisco Estates with Century 21. So look, as I'm closing this escrow here, one of the final and most important things you do right before you move in as a client, it's called the final walkthrough, right? In other words, it's another name for it, it's called the VP, verification of property. So we were just doing that right now with my client, and thankfully I have my buddy here, George, with me. And so one thing we found out as right before they're moving in is once they came in to see the property on the inside to make sure everything's fine, to sign the final walkthrough, we noticed that there was a sign of a break-in, that somebody would try to break into the window. They actually broke into the window, and it looks like they probably spent a night or two, right? So this is why the final walkthrough is one of the most important pieces of forms, legal forms that you have left as a buyer. It's your last chance, okay, to make sure that the owner can repair any irregularities or to see if there's any structural changes. In other words, in a nutshell, as a buyer, as a client, you're making sure that the home looks exactly the same way that it looked like the first time that you saw it with your agent. So again, guys, final walkthrough of VP is very important as an agent and as a client. Okay, so without further ado, let's go check out what we do once we find some irregularity. All right, guys, so we're inside the property. And like I said, we actually weren't planning on shooting this video, but we wanted to take this perfect opportunity to inform you guys and explain of why the verification property is really important. So we're inside the property. Now keep in mind, this just happened, my client's just left, okay? So imagine walking in as a client buyer ready to move in, and you come in on final inspection, and this is what you see, right? So it gets you a little bit nervous. Obviously, like as a client, gets you a little bit nervous. The first thing I did, I want to take you step by step of what I did. First thing I did is my client has 4 daughters, 4 little ones. So obviously this is a sign of a break-in. If somebody was able to go through the window, I don't know, probably sleep here for a couple days. Remember that the property has been vacant for a while. And this, guys, I'm gonna take this opportunity to let you guys know, this is actually more common than it should be. A lot of homeless people have been breaking into vacant homes, right? So it has nothing really to do with the area. Northridge is a very beautiful area. So going back to the story, so the first thing I did, right, is I told my clients to stay here as I go and check the rest of the property to make sure that nobody's here. Once I saw that the property is clear, second step is I call the listing agent to make sure that you know, he didn't send anybody to do any repairs or have somebody sleep over and take care of the property. Once the listing agent told me, he's like, hey Cisco, I didn't send nobody in, I haven't sent nobody to go do any work or to take care of the property, then that means that it's a sign of a break-in, that somebody was able to get inside the property. Now, this is why this is very important, guys. Because this piece of paper, it's your last opportunity as a buyer before you move in to notice any irregularities, to notice if there's any structural changes or any repairs that haven't been done before you move in. So this is why my strong belief and advice, right, to my clients is try to do the verification of property, otherwise known as the final walkthrough, the closest you can to the actual day that you're gonna move in. Why? Because the more gap there is between this, the final property, the verification of property, and the actual moving in, the more of a chance that this can happen any days in between those days, right? So having said that, guys, we're gonna go around. So once I was able to find out that this was a break-in, make sure it wasn't a listing agent that sent somebody in, then we were able to write this in, call the listing agent. And since the owners are still the owners, not my clients, the buyers yet, they're going to take responsibility for this, and they're actually sending a handyman. He should be here within the hour to make sure and repair everything. Okay, so the third step I did is to make sure then, I told my client, let's really go through the whole property and make sure that whoever was in here didn't damage anything else, right? So watch, come with me. So after we saw that, make sure we were testing AC working fine. We checked every room, every corner of the house, every garage, right? Every lighting, every closet, guys, just to make sure that whoever was in here didn't cause any further damage. Once we notice that everything else is fine, right? The bathrooms are fine. Then my second advice is always, hey, check the plumbing, run the water, run the AC, check the electrical. Hey guys, so again, once we were able to make sure that the water pressure, electrical, there's cold, warm water inside the property and everything else looked fine, no really further damage done, then my final step was to go through the outside of the property to make sure that everything's still well, to make sure that they didn't try to come in through any other window. You can see the AC still working. Right, so I went through the whole outside of the property, and that's where I was able to find this. So then I noticed they actually tried to come in through this window. This screen was actually kind of almost broken, hanging out. So I noticed that they tried to come in through here, so I popped it back in, and then they found their way inside through here. Okay, so like I said, it took me 10 minutes to take care of all this, call the listing agent and say, hey, this is still your responsibility. The owner's still, your clients are still owners of the property. So like I said, in an hour, the handyman should be coming, take care of everything. My client now feels more secure, feels better. So I wanted to take, again, the opportunity for you guys to see how important the verification of property is, the final walkthrough, okay? Do it as closely as you can to actually moving into the home and having also the right agent. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.